Tonight, a severe weather threat as we come on the air as millions from coast to coast are in the grip of the early summer heat wave. New details in the mass shooting in Arkansas. And we're days away from the earliest ever presidential debate. What we know about how the current president and the former president are preparing. First to that severe weather threat in the Northeast, powerful thunderstorms, damaging winds, even possible tornadoes as 100 million Americans across 27 states remain under heat alerts. In the heartland, the National Guard is assisting residents in flood-ravaged northwest Iowa. Rivers are expected to crest over record levels. Ike Ejiochi reports from Washington, D.C. Samara Theodore has the forecast. As Americans seek relief, beachgoers beware. Officials warn of a high risk of rip currents along the eastern seaboard and Gulf Coast. Several recent drownings reported from Florida to New York. What experts say you should do if you're caught in a rip current. The death toll rises in the deadly mass shooting in Arkansas as authorities share details of how the incident unfolded in the parking lot of that supermarket and what we're learning about the victims, including the nurse being hailed as a hero. 4 days until the first presidential debate of 2024, President Biden hunkering down at Camp David, former President Trump on the campaign trail, teasing his possible vice presidential pick. What we know about the very different ways the two men are getting ready. Overseas, in the war between Israel and Hamas, Prime Minister Netanyahu doubles down on his claims that arms shipments from the U.S. are decreasing. What the White House is saying is deadly IDF strikes level more buildings in northern Gaza. And Israel's defense minister prepares for meetings with officials here in the U.S. Tom Sufi Burge tonight from Tel Aviv. Details just coming in of several deadly attacks in the southern Russian Republic of Dagestan, a synagogue and 2 churches targeted. What we're learning. Fishermen to the rescue, saving dozens of dogs from a Mississippi lake. And America strong tonight. They aren't just saving lives, they're making them. The baby boom at one California fire department.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us on this Sunday. I'm Lindsay Davis. We begin with the brutal heat suffocating much of the nation. More than 100 million Americans are under heat alerts across 27 states, scorching temperatures along the I-95 corridor and triple digits in the nation's capital and Baltimore over the weekend. The extreme heat is triggering severe thunderstorms in the Midwest. Iowa's governor declaring a disaster with parts of the state overwhelmed by catastrophic flooding. And severe storms are now threatening much of the Northeast. A tornado watch is in effect for parts of New York and New England, but those storms could bring some relief from all the heat. We have team coverage tonight. ABC's meteorologist Samara Theodore is standing by with the forecast, but ABC's Ike Ejiochi leads us off tonight from Washington, D.C.
Tonight, relentless heat continuing to scorch the country. More than 100 million Americans under alerts across 27 states from coast to coast.
The heat is just unimaginable.
It's very hot.
Most of the I-95 corridor under extreme heat risk, hitting record-setting temperatures after already enduring a nearly week-long heat wave.
I feel like the sun is just beating today. It's very hot.
Washington, D.C. today, tying its daily record high of 98 degrees. Baltimore reaching 101 degrees Saturday, the hottest June day there in 12 years.
How are you staying cool?
Right here in the shade. I'm not walking those steps.
Here in the nation's capital, Galen Clark telling me she's visiting from Las Vegas and that the two areas don't compare.
It's not like Las Vegas. It is so oppressive. It's so hot. It's so wet that you can't breathe and everything is sticking to you.
The blistering heat now expanding to the southern and western U.S., near triple-digit temperatures forecast for huge swaths of the country. The sweltering temperatures in part fueling torrential rainstorms in the Midwest. Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds declaring a disaster after floodwaters inundated northern parts of the state, forcing evacuations.
The devastation is severe and it's widespread. In almost every community impacted, the rivers crested several feet above record levels.
Lindsay, the oppressive heat here in D.C. is finally starting to break, but tomorrow, more seasonal temperatures are expected, but it's still going to be hot, with much of the Northeast corridor experiencing highs in the 80s and low 90s for the week. Lindsay?
At least the end is in sight. Ike, we'll take it. Thanks so much. Let's get right to ABC's meteorologist, Samara Theodore. Samara, give us a timeline for this severe weather threat.
Well, it's happening right now. We actually have a tornado watch in effect for New England. Not something you see every day until 8 p.m. There's already been multiple tornado warnings issued for many states. There's also a severe thunderstorm watch issued for places like Pennsylvania, New Jersey, parts of New York and Ohio through tonight. Now, these storms are robust and only fueled by the heat. The heat dome continue to expand farther west. Places like Sioux City can reach near triple digits for their Monday, as hot as 93 degrees in New Orleans, with a heat advisory issued for much of the central portion of the country. Excessive heat warnings for places like Salt Lake City. So this heat also impacting the west. Triple digit temperatures anticipated, with temperatures reaching 108 degrees for the start of the work week in Phoenix. Lindsay?
All right, Samara, thank you. Now to those deadly wildfires in southern New Mexico. The FBI is working with multiple law enforcement agencies to try to determine the cause of the South Fork and Salt fires. They're offering up to $10,000 for information leading to an arrest and conviction. At least 2 people have died in the blazes and hundreds of homes have been destroyed. And now to the life-threatening rip currents along the eastern seaboard. Since Thursday, at least 8 people have drowned, and the search for 2 teens who went missing in rough beach waters in New York on Friday has now been suspended. Tonight, the warnings and safety tips for swimmers as beach season heats up. Here's ABC's Morgan Norwood.
Tonight, the National Weather Service warning of life-threatening rip currents up and down the Atlantic and Gulf Coast, where several people have drowned in recent days, dragged out to sea by powerful waters. Beaches on Long Island and New Jersey, all the way down to North Carolina and Florida at high risk, meaning everyone, even strong swimmers, should stay out of the water. The heightened alerts coming as authorities called off the search for 2 teenage boys, ages 16 and 17, who went missing near Jacob Riis Park in Queens, New York on Friday.
This is one thing back.
Emergency responders combing through 600 square miles of rough chop, but still no sign of the boys. The Coast Guard saying in a statement, the decision to suspend a search is always difficult and weighs heavily on all involved. Our crews have conducted an exhaustive search, and our thoughts remain with the families during this difficult time. And in Florida, rip currents claiming the lives of 5 people in just 2 days, including this Pennsylvania couple who were carried away while swimming with their 2 children. Tonight, swimmers urged to stay near lifeguards and heed safety advice from Beach Patrol and flag warning systems.
Breaking into the summer season and the timing of these stronger rips this week, I think that may be causing the quote-unquote perfect storm in terms of people not being acclimated for beach rip current season.
And Lindsay, experts say if you find yourself caught in a rip current, remember, do not panic. Instead, you want to relax, float, and then swim parallel to the shore until you're free of that rip current. Lindsay?
Potentially life-saving tips there, Morgan. Thank you. Now to the new details coming in tonight about the deadly mass shooting at an Arkansas grocery store near Little Rock. The death toll has now climbed to 4, and moments ago, authorities said it appears to be a random act of violence. What we're learning tonight about the victims, including a nurse and the baby she left behind. Here's ABC's Jaclyn Lee.
Tonight, as the death toll rises to 4, police in Arkansas say that grocery store mass shooting appears to be a random act of violence.
We believe he immediately began engaging victims in the parking lot after exiting his truck and then proceeded into the store. Once inside, he was firing indiscriminately at both customers and employees.
Arkansas State Police revealing new details about the shooting on Friday in Fordyce, about an hour south of Little Rock.
And there is a shooting going on.
The suspect was armed with a 12-gauge shotgun, a pistol, and a bandolier with dozens of extra shotgun rounds, authorities say. And for the first time tonight, authorities identifying the fatalities. 81-year-old Ellen Schrum, 62-year-old Shirley Taylor, 50-year-old Roy Sturgis, and 23-year-old Callie Weems.
Instead of fleeing from the obvious danger, Callie Weems began using her training as a nurse to render aid to a gunshot victim, and unfortunately became a victim herself as a result of her selfless actions.
Weems' mother, Helen, says her daughter died a hero and is survived by her child, Ivy Mae, just 10 months old.
She loved God, she loved her daughter, she loved her family, and she loved people.
Police say the 44-year-old suspect, who is facing 4 counts of capital murder, shot 11 others, including 2 police officers.
These officers literally and intentionally put themselves between the suspects and defenseless citizens. Their actions were nothing short of heroic.
Lindsay, police say 4 people are in the hospital. A woman is still in critical condition. Arkansas State Police are investigating the motive of the shooter.
Lindsay.
Thinking of baby Ivy Mae tonight, Jaclyn, thank you.